The scream tore through the hospital corridor just as the clerk slid the bill across the counter, the number so large it blurred into cruelty, and Mara Veland's knees buckled beneath the weight of it while her hands instinctively cradled her swollen belly as if the world itself had declared her child a debt she could never repay. If you're watching Broken Smill right now and you believe in hope, compassion, and second chances, pause for a moment and like, comment, share, and subscribe, because this story begins where mercy seems impossible. Daylight poured in through tall glass panels, bleaching the hospital lobby in a pale, unforgiving glow. The smell of disinfectant clung to Mara's clothes, mixing with the sour metallic taste of fear at the back of her throat. She had arrived hours earlier, shoes soaked from the morning rain, jacket thin and worn, belly heavy with a life that kicked gently as if asking whether the world outside would be kind. Mara was 26, a former art student who once painted murals on abandoned buildings before life unraveled into bills, layoffs, and a single night of misplaced trust that ended with a pregnancy and a vanishing lover. She had slept in her car for 2 months before finding work cleaning offices at dawn, saving every coin for this day. Yet the paper in front of her proved her sacrifice laughably insufficient. Behind her, sunlight cast long shadows across polished floors as staff moved with brisk efficiency. To them, this was routine. To Mara, it was an ending. Her breath came in shallow bursts, each one tightening her chest. She thought of her mother, gone too soon, who used to say that daylight always reveals the truth. The truth now was merciless. She could not afford to bring her child into the world. At the far end of the corridor stood Alaric Crown, a man whose presence bent space around him without effort. His suit was tailored to perfection, navy fabric absorbing light rather than reflecting it, his posture straight despite the faint tremor in his hands. Alaric had built an empire from biotech patents and ruthless acquisitions, his name etched into skyscrapers and charitable wings alike. Yet none of his wealth could purchase what his body refused to give him. Years of medical consultations, private clinics bathed in soft sunlight, whispered condolences from specialists, each one confirmed the same truth. He would never have a child of his own. He had come to the hospital that morning not as a benefactor, but as a man desperate enough to consider a solution he once found unthinkable. Through philanthropic channels, he had learned of women who carried children they could not afford, of quiet agreements and sealed contracts. He told himself it was generosity wrapped in necessity. He told himself he could offer a better life. Still, as he watched Mara clutch her stomach in despair, something fractured inside him. Mara felt eyes on her and looked up. Their gazes collided briefly, his sharp and assessing, hers raw and unfocused. She turned away, ashamed of her trembling hands. Her inner monologue spiraled, replaying every decision that led here. She imagined her child's face, wondered if love alone could shield them from hunger. The daytime brightness mocked her, revealing every crack in her resolve. Alaric approached slowly, the echo of his footsteps loud in the open space. He had spent a lifetime controlling outcomes, yet now his heart thudded like a novice's. He saw not a bargaining chip but a woman pushed to the edge by circumstance. His own childhood flickered in memory, a lonely estate, nannies instead of parents, money instead of warmth. He had sworn his child would never feel that emptiness, yet here he stood, contemplating a transaction born of another's despair. They moved to a sunlit waiting area overlooking a courtyard where a lone tree stood, leaves shimmering green against concrete. The contrast was painful. Mara listened as Alaric laid out his proposal in careful, measured tones, each word heavy with implication. He spoke of covering all medical costs, of future security, of a life free from want, for the child. He did not speak of love, and that omission cut deeper than any harsh truth. Mara's world narrowed to the steady thump of her heartbeat and the gentle roll of the life inside her. She felt anger flare, then guilt for feeling it at all. Was this not salvation? Yet the idea of relinquishing her child hollowed her chest. She thought of nights spent whispering dreams to her belly, of promising protection she now could not guarantee. Tears traced silent paths down her cheeks as sunlight caught them, turning sorrow into something almost luminous. Time stretched. Nurses passed by, sunlight shifted, shadows crept. Alaric waited, every second stripping away his practiced detachment. He saw his reflection in the glass, a powerful man undone by longing. He realized then that he was asking for more than a child. He was asking Mara to surrender her future so he could claim one. Mara stood abruptly, the movement dizzying. She walked to the courtyard window, palm pressed to the glass, breathing in the sight of ordinary life outside. Her thoughts slowed, clarity emerging through pain. She understood that whatever choice she made would define her forever. The world had tested her, bent her nearly to breaking, but something unyielding remained. When she turned back, Alaric braced himself. The words she conveyed were not spoken aloud here, but her resolve was unmistakable. She could not sell her child. She would rather face uncertainty than live with that loss. The decision cost her what little stability she had left, yet in that moment she felt strangely whole. Alaric's first reaction was disbelief, then a surge of something unfamiliar, respect. He felt the sharp sting of rejection, not of his offer, but of the idea that money could solve everything. Sunlight warmed his face as he considered the woman before him, her courage laid bare. He saw a mirror of his own emptiness and understood that taking her child would not heal it. What happened next surprised them both. Alaric moved with purpose, making calls not to lawyers but to administrators. By afternoon, the oppressive weight of the bill dissolved into a series of approvals and signatures. He arranged coverage for Mara's childbirth, no conditions attached. He secured postnatal support, housing assistance, and job placement programs through foundations he controlled but rarely engaged with personally. He did not frame it as charity, but as responsibility. Mara watched this transformation with guarded disbelief. Suspense coiled in her chest, waiting for the hidden cost. Yet none came. Instead, she felt something soften inside her, a cautious hope unfurling like the leaves in the courtyard below. She realized that compassion could arrive in unexpected forms, and that strength did not always roar, it sometimes simply stayed. Days passed in warm daylight rooms as Mara gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Sunlight streamed through sheer curtains, painting everything gold. Exhausted and tearful, she held her son against her chest, feeling his tiny heartbeat sync with hers. For the first time in months, the future did not terrify her. Alaric stood at the doorway, unseen, witnessing a miracle he would not claim. His heart ached, but it was a clean pain, honest. He understood now that what he sought was not ownership, but connection. He left quietly, carrying with him a resolve to rebuild his life around meaning rather than lack. If this story has touched your heart so far, please support it. Your encouragement keeps stories like this alive. Before the final moments unfold, take a second and comment below what this journey made you feel. Months later, daylight filled a modest apartment where Mara painted again, her son napping nearby. Colors bloomed across canvas, each stroke an act of defiance against despair. She had survived, not because life became easy, but because compassion met courage at the brink. Somewhere across the city, Alaric watched sunlight spill across a playground he funded, children's laughter carrying on the breeze. He smiled, not broken now, but learning. And in that shared daylight, two lives once bound by desperation moved forward separately, united by a moment that proved the most powerful wealth is the willingness to see another's humanity and choose kindness when it costs the most.